Well, hello everyone. My clock says it's 9 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the IPEVO professional development for June 21st. Glad that we have participants from Alvarado ISD, Era ISD, and DeMoss ISD. Thank you all for joining us. Additionally, we potentially have some participants from the Region 13 area. So thank you all for being here today. My name is John Korb. I am the technology specialist for the Texas Education Telecommunications Network, or TETN. I will be presenting based on some of my experience that I've had with the IPEVO. I wanted to real quick switch over to my contact information. If you have any questions for me, feel free to email me. Email address is jkorb@tetnplus.net. jkorb@tetnplus.net. And you'll also see a little @TETN+. That's our Twitter handle. So if any of you are Twitter files and you would like to follow us, feel free to do so. @TETN+ is our Twitter account. So questions about our presentation today, you can email them to jkorb@TETN+. In addition, you can go ahead and just turn on your mic if you'd prefer just to talk to me. You can unmute your mic and ask a question. Feel free to interrupt me. Today we are learning about this device, the IPEVO document camera. That's going to be the focus. We're also going to talk about some of the great stuff that comes along with it. I wanted to kind of point out right away that I am not employed by IPEVO. I am not paid extra by IPEVO for this. This was something that I decided to put together based upon my experience with the document camera when I was teaching in a middle school classroom. Just a little bit on my background. I am a English teacher, a certified English teacher in the state of Texas. I began teaching high school English at Seguin ISD. I worked in Bastrop ISD, taught English there as well, middle school there. So I've had a lot of experience. At some point in that time, I transitioned to a technology specialist, and then I've moved to this job, which is a statewide distance learning coordinator for the Texas Education Telecommunications Network. So I've got a broad classroom experience. I'm hoping to be able to relay some of that to you. And I want to start by talking about how I first got involved with the IPEVO document camera. I was in Bastrop ISD. I was getting more involved with technology, and we started looking for document cameras to replace some of our ones that were failing, and to give some teachers that didn't have any something that they could work with. So as we were doing that, as we were looking along, we started looking at a lot of different products. During that time, this was one of the primary document cameras that you could get out there. This is one that everybody wanted, that all the teachers wanted to get. You'll notice it's kind of bulky. It's a little hard to do. It's got all these ports on the back, all these buttons on the front. We used to have to do like a half-day professional development to get teachers up and running with that device. So we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to spend all the money on that thing, first of all. We wanted to find something that was a little more versatile, a little more functional, and a little more affordable. So real quick, I'm going to switch over, and we're going to talk first about the price here. The price on these document cameras. And I'm just going to pull up a little screen here from, this is a Google shopping search here, and just kind of look over the prices there of the traditional document camera, and you'll actually see IPEVO is right down there. It's about fourth in line there. But the prices are anywhere from, you've got 129 here, 335. And then there's IPEVO sitting in there. It's the least expensive one. So automatically, as an educator who we're trying to stretch our dollar, this was something that jumped out to us. Additionally, we didn't want to deal with that giant bulky document camera that we had before. We wanted to get something that was a little more versatile, something that we could move if we had to. We could quickly set up and move around to different classrooms. So that's what kind of turned us on to the IPEVO. So I'm going to give you guys the website to write down. It's a very simple one. It's IPEVO.com, IPEVO.com. All the products we're talking about today can be found there. And I'm going to go particularly to the point-to-view USB camera that they've got on the IPEVO website. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, this small little camera. And the great thing about the website, they've got all the specs. You'll see over here on the right-hand side, it tells you a little bit about its features and so on and so forth. So if you need a visual to kind of go along with some of the stuff that we're talking about, I'm going to be giving you some visuals as well, but this is something to reference back to. So that's at IPEVO.com, IPEVO.com, IPEVO.com. One more time. All right, so let's get to it. I'm actually going to be using a document camera to talk about a document camera today. And I'm actually going to walk you through how the hardware works, and then talk to you about the software, and then we're going to go into some classroom uses for this device. I was attempting to use the IPEVO when I worked in Bastrop. It was in a one-to-one classroom, and I was attempting to go paperless in that classroom. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how IPEVO kind of fell into that. So we're going to talk about the hardware, the software, and then we're going to get into some classroom uses. Again, feel free at any time if you want to ask a question, unmute your mic, go ahead and ask a question, or text me 512-567-8231 if you have any questions about what I'm presenting today. Okay, so here we go. We're using a document camera to look at a document camera. I think if we added one more document camera, we might break a hole in the space-time continuum. I know you physics teachers will say that's not possible. But so here's the IPEVO document camera. You'll notice it's very small. It fits right in my hands. It's got a flexible arm here, so you can move and adjust it. A flexible mount here. The camera actually detaches from the mount, so you can take it and you can adjust it and move it around to where you need to if you want to highlight something or put the camera right on top of an item. And it connects via USB to your laptop. So I mentioned before, the arm is very versatile. I can move this around. The head, I can rotate the camera completely. It's got 3 mounting positions on the top, so I can mount it on the top or the sides. I can mount the camera sideways as well. So a lot of great options. Now we're actually going to look at the camera itself. The camera has 3 buttons on top of it. The first here, this big green one, that's if you actually want to take a picture. So if I'm using this and I'm moving around and I want to highlight, put it on a specific item, get in real close, I can press that button and it'll take the picture for me. The next button at the top is the autofocus button. So it'll, if your picture's a little blurry, I'm going to make this a little bigger for you guys, sorry about that. If your picture's a little blurry, it will, this one here will allow it to focus. Okay. You also have another option here where you can change the autofocus where it automatically refocuses all the time. So it will just automatically adjust as you move the camera image around. Or you can set it to where it's kind of locked, so it only autofocuses when you press the autofocus button. I kind of prefer, in my use of it, the one where it's locked, the position where it's locked, and I have to press the button to adjust it, simply because it likes to move about a lot. The camera moves about a lot as you move different things in and out, and it's kind of annoying to me. But it's your preference as a teacher what you prefer. Okay, so that's kind of the hardware. Real quick, we're going to talk about the application itself. So when you order the IPEVO, it comes in a nice, neat little package. I was going to try to find my box here. Okay, so it comes in a nice little box for you. Looks like that. Included in the box is a camera and the connecting cords, all the things like that. And you also get a nice little quick start guide that walks you through how to get things rolling when you're using it. And I'm actually going to flip the camera there. Yeah. So another neat little tool, you can rotate. We'll talk about some of those great little tools in the application here in a second. But so you get a quick start guide, and then you get your software, a real easy install software application that comes here. Like I said, the install is very easy, and when you're all said and done, you end up with an application that looks like this one. And I'm going to, yeah. So you end up with an application that looks like this one. We're going to talk about the application and how it all works now. This is when you start up the application, you get this image here. I'm going to put something underneath here so you guys can see. So the application has the standard little options across the top. If you want to kill it, you press the X. If you want to minimize it, the minus button. There's actually a help section there if you have questions. And then there's the settings tool. If you want to go in and adjust the settings on your IPEVO, this is where you would do it. In the settings section, one of the things that I found was important was you could pick where you wanted your pictures to go, which was good. Whenever you take pictures with a document camera, you can specify what folders you want them to end up in, which is a great option. You can also play with your image. You'll notice that my image has kind of got a little yellowish hue to it right now. So you can make some adjustments there and change that up, make your view a little bit better. And then you can also change whether or not the application starts when you turn on your computer. I always like to turn that off so it doesn't just pop up every time I turn on my computer. So that's the settings section. Okay, so now we're going to look at the tools across the top of your screen. So you've got a zoom button, which is really great. You can actually go to 3x zoom and zoom in on a specific item. If you want to play with the settings. I was just adjusting the exposure settings there. That looks a lot better. Okay, so you can zoom in, zoom out, up to 3x digital zoom there. You also have a timer, so you can set a timer for when you want to take pictures. So let's say if you want to start, you want a 3-second delay between when you press the picture button and when it actually takes the picture. This is a great option if you, let's say you turn the camera on yourself and you wanted to take a picture and pose for it first. So you can press the 3-second button and you can face the camera and take the picture. So great little tool. And I think I got a text message I just heard. So someone has a question. I am going to check that out real quick. Are there extra long USB cables available? That way the classroom would be mobile. That's a good question. You know what? We've got an IPEVO rep here today with us, and he's going to actually write down that question, and he's going to answer that. I agree, that'd be a very great tool to use in the classroom. So next up, across the top of the screen, after our timer, you've got some mirror options, which I find are very useful. if you want to flip an image around, or if you want to rotate them so that you can, like we saw earlier, so you possibly could read. Like right now, Verizon, you'll see on the bottom is flipped the wrong way. So we want to rotate that so that we can read it. And these options allow you to do those flipping, that flipping of the image. All right. You also have your resolution options here, so you can change the resolution. You can make it higher or lower. One thing I want to point out: this medium, because we're coming through multiple cameras on your Polycom units or your Tandberg units, the cameras there at or the screens there at your site, the image may not be very clear. I want to assure you guys that the IPEVO document camera is very clear when you're looking at it, and when you're playing with it firsthand and on your screen, and when you're projecting it. The image is very clear, and you're able to really get a good picture for you and your students. I've played with the exposure options there. You saw some of that, so you can actually adjust the amount of light that's coming into your camera to get a better picture, to adjust the right lighting settings for your room, which we know is always an issue under those fluorescent lights that are in most classrooms. You can also turn on your autofocus on and off here on the far right across the top of your screen. And there's an escape button when you're in full screen so that you can get out of the full screen mode. Okay, you also have some buttons over here on the left hand side of your screen. What these allow you to do, there's a camera button. This goes to the camera and shows you what you're seeing with your camera. There's a review button, so you can look at your old pictures and you can review the pictures you've taken. And this is really great for a teacher when they're going through a demonstration or maybe an experiment, and they don't want to go back and do it over again. They can take a picture of the event, and they can go back and review it via picture. So there's a great little review option there. And then there's the full screen button as well, where you can switch to full screen mode. Okay, to actually take a picture, and I'm going to take a picture of my phone here. There's the question that we got earlier today. So to actually take a picture, you're going to press this green button, or if you'd prefer, you can press the green button on the document camera. I'm kind of fond of using the button on the application, because when you're pressing the button on the camera, sometimes you shake the image. It's not as smooth. So I'm fond of setting your camera where you want it, and then pressing the green button. And we're doing a countdown, and it takes the picture for us. So I prefer to use the application to take the picture. Also, on this bottom little section, there's an autofocus button, so you can readjust the focus there. Again, without having to touch the camera, without having to move it away from the location where you want it. So let's get to some actual classroom usage of this tool. We want to talk about ways that we can actually take advantage of this in the classroom. I have this document camera now. It's affordable. I was able to talk my administrators into buying it because it's affordable. I've got it in the classroom. Now, how am I going to use it and get the most out of it? And so, obviously, the first thing that most people think is they think demonstration. I'm going to demonstrate how to do something with my document camera. This is where it becomes a great tool, because you're not only demonstrating, but you're exposing it to a larger group. So you can take an experiment that potentially you only have one chance to do, and you can share it with the whole class. You can use the document camera to increase your exposure. Now, it's also great at demonstrating things on like calculators if you're a math teacher. If you have math teachers that try to demonstrate, okay, we're using the graphing calculator, these are the buttons you need to push on the graphing calculator. A lot of times that's hard to, there's no way to connect that graphing calculator to your projector or things like that. So the document camera becomes a great tool for that. It's also great on, just a second here, I got to grab on pads. So let's say you have an iPad, you're using an iPad in the classroom. This is actually a Droid pad, and I want to demonstrate for my classroom. We've got a one-to-one classroom, and we're using iPads for something. This is a great way to show them what's going on the screen, because iPads are not the easiest items to connect to a projector, and sometimes it's just easier to use your document camera to make that connection. I mentioned experiments, dissections. Let's talk about dissections. I won't put a dissection in front of you. You guys can thank me for that later. But a lot of times you can't afford 30, 40 pigs for a pig dissection in a science classroom. We actually, our network, we had a video conference where one classroom out of, I think it was Dallas, the Dallas area, dissected a pig, and they shared what they learned via video conference and via video with schools throughout the state of Texas. So that's some of the things that the Texas Education Telecommunications Network does. But so basically we're taking one group and we're sharing that with everyone. The same thing applies in your classroom. You've got a pig dissection, a frog dissection. You don't want your kids handling possibly dangerous chemicals in your science classroom or something like that. And so what the document camera allows you to do is you to manage the dissection, or one student group to manage the dissection and to share it with multiple students, or allows you to manage the hazardous chemicals in the experiment while not exposing all your classroom to it. So a great little tool for demonstrating a particular process or a particular event and sharing it with others. When you're dealing with live animals, for example, maybe you've got crickets or mice or something like that, and you don't want Johnny, your notoriously bad kid, to be, holding the live frog in front of Lucy. The IPEVO document camera is your option there. Additionally, sometimes you can't actually touch the chemicals. You can't touch the item that you're experimenting on because it's too hazardous. So the ability to rotate your camera, flip it, move it around, gives you a kind of an added safety measure when you're dealing with some of these hazardous chemicals. So all these, I think, are great things to take to your administrators when you're asking for this device or a device similar to it. Say, this is why we need these things. This is why we want to use these in our classroom. So we mentioned the picture review option, and I'm going to go back to that. There's a little review button over there on the side. So basically you're saving all the pictures you've taken in a series. So the question is, what are you going to do with that in your classroom? And I actually have a small little demonstration video of some of an option, a possible option for you guys to take this and move it into the classroom. This is actually a time lapse of a bean sprout. So they use their camera to take multiple pictures of a bean sprout over time. And actually, let's just kill the sound. So you're using your document camera and that picture taking option to do these time-lapse pictures of an event, whether it be a dissection, a plant growing or some other process, maybe cell mitosis or something like that. And we can show time lapse over time. It's a great little project for your kids. You might have them identify the different parts of the bean sprout here as it goes. For elementary students, everybody does the little plastic bag and bean sprouts growing in it. I actually did that with my son this past year, a little science project we do on our own. So a great little option for showing these time-lapse pictures using those saved pictures that you've made with your document camera. The other thing that I want to add is you've also got photo manipulation options. And I've got an example of just such a thing. Let me get it open here. So we've taken a photo that I took of my my cup of ice here on my desk, but we've annotated it. We've actually used a program called Pixlr. It's at pixlr.com. It's totally online, and I can make these adjustments to my pictures. I can include edits, and of course this is not the most scientific of references, but just an example of what you could potentially do with your pictures once you've created them with the IPEVO document camera. I'm going to go to that website just so you guys can see a little bit about how it works. It's pixlr.com. This is where I do my photo editing. And basically it's a cheap version of Photoshop. And it's all online, so you don't have to download anything on your computer. You click the Open Photo Editor button and you can select the image from your screen. So I'd open an image from my IPEVO folder, and then I can make edits to it using these editing tools over here on the right. So very simple. It's free. It's online. That's pixlr.com, pixlr.com. A great little tool to use in conjunction with your document camera. So I'm going to pause right there and just give an opportunity. Do we have any questions? Are there any more questions? Okay, so moving on. We talked about the picture review option and what you can do with that. Another possible option, the digital word wall. And I'm going to give an example of a digital word wall and show you guys how it could potentially use. This is actually an example from a math classroom. And what this teacher has done is they've created a demonstration of different terms for algebra. They've taken pictures of them and then they've integrated them into a short video. You don't have to put them in a video, but you can take pictures of a particular concept like cellular mitosis or in this case the y-intercept function, and you can post those pictures. You can print them out, post them in your classroom. So you've created a word wall. The students are responsible for creating the definitions and the pictures that go along with it, and they put it underneath the IPEVO document camera, take that snapshot, and then we transfer it over to maybe a screen that runs a short video and loop or something to that nature. We use the preview function in Microsoft Office to view a slideshow of the different pictures, things like that. So lots of different ways to take the pictures you've taken or your students have taken with the IPEVO and then translate them into an actual useful tool in the classroom. So that's just an example of a digital word wall. Okay, let's move on. I've got this live video that I'm running. Let me flip me over here. So I've got this live video option that I'm running. I'm using the IPEVO camera. There's a little bit of delay because I'm using the IPEVO camera instead of my video conferencing camera. So what can I do with this video now, or what can I do with what my students have created? What we're going to do is we're going to go to a little website called screencast-o-matic.com, and I'm going to write that out again. That's screencast, SCREENCAST -o-matic, MATIC.com. Screencast-o-matic. This is a really great tool. Again, this is free. It's online. You have to download a completely benign little attachment to get it to run, but it's very simple. Basically, by clicking the little Start Recording button there on screencast-o-matic.com, it'll start to run the program. It takes a second to get started up. Apologies for the pause. Okay, so there we go. So when I started the little screencast-o-matic.com, it gave me this little box here. You see the box on the screen? Is that clear to you guys?
Yes, we do.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So you can make adjustments to that box, so you can adjust the size. And basically what this does is it records everything that goes on inside of the box. So I can be at a website. I can go to my desktop. So I can go to this IPEVO application, and I can record everything that happens on this screen. So basically what I've done is I've taken the IPEVO document camera and I've made it a recorder, so it can digitally record what I'm demonstrating. If I was a student that was doing a particular experiment and I wanted to show it and share it with kids, by clicking this little red button here at the bottom of the screen, I start recording. It gives you a little countdown, and it records what you do and what you demonstrate. There's my little contact case. So everything that I do is now become recorded, and it's become something that I can share with others, share with students. So a great little option there, and it's also recording my voice as well. I don't know if you see the little green bar jumping across the bottom of the screen. It's recording my voice, so the student can actually explain what they're trying to demonstrate, explain what they're trying to get across to people, explain the different options that they're showing off or that they're highlighting in whatever they're talking about. And so you've basically taken this document camera and you've made it into a video recording device. And when you're done with your recording, you just click Done, and it transfers it. You get to preview the video here. So, and it records what you do and what you demonstrate. My little contact case. So everything that I do is now become recorded, and it's become something that I can share with others, share with students. Okay, so did you guys hear that? You were able to hear the playback on that?
Yeah. Yes, we heard it.
Okay, so the document camera has now become a tool that you can share your lectures and your presentation. So not only just for the students, for the teachers as well. So let's say you did that demonstration. Let's do that, and let's publish it to YouTube. All I have to do is click the button over here, and it will start downloading it to your YouTube account. Your YouTube account if you have one. It'll also put it on Screencast-O-Matic. They actually have a storage space of their own there. Or it'll give you, I believe you can have a FLV, an AVI, an MP4, or a GIF style video by clicking the Publish to Video file option. So all these great little tools here, there's your options to pick what type of video file you'd like to save it as. Excuse me. And it downloads that to your computer. So a very simple, very free tool, and you've increased the power of your IPEVO camera exponentially. I really like the publish to YouTube option. It's just so much simpler, and once you have it on YouTube, it's easy to embed it in your school website, your teacher website. It's just so easy to share it from there. I know a lot of school districts don't necessarily approve of YouTube, but it's a great option if that's available to you guys. Okay, so let me check my time here. We've talked about the screen capture option, and there's other options out there besides Screencast-O-Matic. I'm fond of that one, but you could also use Jing. You can find that at techsmith.com/Jing. It's another little screen capture tool that you can use, and I'm not going to demonstrate it here today, but you're a little more limited on the ways you can save your screen captures with Jing. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Okay, so this is what the Jing website looks like, and it's a free download to download Jing. So that's techsmith.com/Jing. But you have to save it as a SWF, which is a flash file, and it's just a little more difficult to work with, I think, in my opinion. But again, it's a free option out there for you guys to use screen capture with your IPEVO document camera. Okay, so real quick, I wanted to mention how you might use that screen capture option with your ESL students. The record and playback option is just really essential to an ESL student learning to interact using vocabulary that you guys use in the classroom. So if I was, as an English teacher, when I'm teaching ESL, I would have my students, and I actually had one class that had a set of 5 ESL students. This is their first year in Texas, and I had them in a nice little group. They sat around my table, and they had access to this IPEVO document camera. So what I would do is I would have them record their reading. So they'd use that screen capture option. They would record themselves reading, record the video of it, and then I would record myself reading it. And so they would have to review their playback. They would have to listen to me read. And what I would do is I would record myself reading in a previous class before they got there, so it was ready to go when they came to class. I would record myself reading. Then they would record themselves reading. They would listen to themselves. They would listen to me, and then they would go back and they would record again. And you'd really see a marked improvement in their reading after hearing themselves and then hearing someone who's a little bit better at reading some of those words, someone who's a little more familiar with the English language, and their ears pick up on it, and the video option is just a great little positive for them. So it was really beneficial to my ESL students to use that technique, and they really I really saw them grow from that experience. I hadn't had that type of success with especially first year ESL students, and that was just one of the tools that I used throughout the year to help me get that success. Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about was webcam video, and I'm actually going to start Skype here. All right, so the IPEVO camera works as a webcam. It functions with your Apple photo booth. It functions, with Skype, Windows Live, Google. If any of you guys do Google Hangouts or anything like that, it all works. Okay, and I'm actually flipped there, but I'm calling one of my contacts. But you'll notice that my camera was flipped, my video was flipped there. But you'll you'll see my video there across the bottom. Okay, there's my video there at the bottom, and it's actually functioning. So the camera works great. I just need to adjust my settings on the IPEVO in to get that flipped back over. So a great little option to use as a webcam as well. Works with Google Hangouts, works with Skype, all those tools that you use already online. So definitely take advantage of that. I mean, that just goes back to the versatility of the IPEVO and why I like it so much. Real quick before I start getting into some of the final accessories and hand it over to our IPEVO rep here, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about some of the stuff that's coming down the line to work with the IPEVO. Special education uses for this tool. Let's talk about the visually impaired students, that you can give a closer view of your whatever item you're showing. You can blow it up on the screen so they can see it better. You can zoom in on certain options. For those students that are potentially a little bit hard of hearing, you have the ability to record your lecture or record your demonstration using that screen capture option, and they can go back and they can view it over and over again. So it gives you a great bit of versatility and lots of options for your ESL and your special education students. And guys, if you're trying to talk an administrator into getting you a document camera, this is the way to go. You've got to highlight those options that you can do for your students. Okay, so let's talk accessories, because everybody loves accessories. That's what my wife would say, at least. Like I mentioned, the IPEVO document camera is mobile. It's versatile. This is a nice little carrying case that comes with it. I've used it repeatedly since IPEVO sent it over to me. It's designed specifically for this document camera. Fits right in there. I'm actually going to go to the video. Sorry about that. I meant to show you guys how this works. So this is actually a view of the case, and I'm putting the IPEVO stand right there. I'm putting it right in the case. It fits in there. The camera goes on one side, the cord's on the other, and it closes up in a nice little neat package that I can zip up. I throw this in my bag, and I can take the camera with me wherever I need to go. So a great little tool for transporting your document camera around. And I actually have a link. You can actually, at the IPEVO.com website, you can find that. Another little tool that's going to come in handy is a magnifying lens. This is a very neat option for science teachers that want to kind of zoom in on a particular item or highlight something. There's a little light in here that will highlight whatever you're demonstrating, and it actually connects right to the front of your camera there. So I can take this and I can zoom it in on something, and I can hold it over a specific item. I can do the autofocus, and it's going to highlight that image. I'm going to try to demonstrate it. I'm actually using a different camera here. Let me see if I can get this to work. That is a picture of my skin, but this is a zoom in magnification of my skin using the magnification lens. And this is actually not on the camera that it was meant for. It's on a different IPEVO camera, but kind of gives you an idea of the type of magnification you can get with that. So another great little accessory that I think science teachers really need to have, and we're getting a lot of questions. That must have been interesting to somebody. have you ever used any brand of camera, perhaps the AVRI? No, ma'am. And I will say this. I can't speak for a lot of the other document cameras. I've used Elmo document cameras, the giant document camera devices, and that's pretty much my experience. We looked at a lot of different ones, so we read up on them. We did the specifications when I was there in Bastrop ISD. We did a lot of research, and the IPEVO was just one of those that we felt met kind of our three big things, which was versatility, inexpensive, because funding's always an issue, and then just the ability to do so many things with it. So that was our options, was going with the AVRI. I mean, with the IPEVO, excuse me. Sorry. Okay, one last accessory before I go. I want to talk about this extension stand, and I'm going to actually show you guys here. My camera is actually attached to an extension stand. Now let's take a look at that. This just gives you a little more height on your camera, so you get to go a little bit higher up in the air with your camera, and that gives you more coverage with what you're looking at. So you get further away from your whatever you're showing on your camera, and you're able to see more of it, in other words. So a little height extension stand, folds up really nice, travels well, but I think that's another one of those essential products that goes real well with the IPEVO. So again, I want to emphasize that the IPEVO is not the only option out there. I encourage you guys to research and look into the different options that are available to you. I'm drawing on my particular experience with the IPEVO camera, and I wanted to make that relevant to you guys. Hopefully, I gave you guys some good ideas, some potential use cases for these devices or a device similar to it. By no means do I want you guys to say, well, John Korb says the IPEVO is the only way to go. Do your research, and I think you'll find that there are similar things out there, but you just have to make the decision for yourself. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, and we're going to turn it over to our IPEVO representative that's here. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about what's coming in the future for IPEVO and answer some of those questions about the extended USB cord. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about if you want to buy these in bulk, you get some discounts, which are nice.
Thank you, John. First of all, I'd really like to thank John and everybody here at TETN to give us an opportunity to do this. We wouldn't be able to do it on our own. The cameras that I wanted to stress are there are definitely other options out there. We never really tell people that we are the best cameras out there, but we believe what we offer is a versatility that no other cameras can offer, and also the affordability of it. So coming to price, we do have two models. If you go to the website, ipevo.com, the camera that John was using was our newer camera, which is the Ziggy. That is retailing for, this black model right here for $89. And we also have our first generation camera, the point-to-view USB document camera, which is $69. And trust me, they are not cheap because they are cheaply made. We basically took off all the bells and whistles that come with the bigger, bulkier document cameras that you are, accustomed to seeing everywhere. We believe that most of the teachers only need about 70% to 80% of what the other cameras actually offer, and we took away all the additional stuff that actually jack up the price. For example, the cameras do not come with a built-in microphone. So, for example, if you were trying to record a session, like John did, you actually do have to have another mic. Although USB microphones are cheaply available for about $15 on anywhere, Amazon or any online stores. There is also no built-in light in the cameras, so in darker room situations, most teachers will find that they will need maybe another light source. But the good thing is you basically just need a desk lamp to put right beside the cameras. And so you could basically find readily available resources to work with the cameras and basically try to keep the cost down as comparison to the other cameras that could retail over $500 easily. So there was one thing that John pointed out that I wanted to correct. So there was a little bit of miscommunication, I guess misunderstanding somewhere. The cameras actually do not come with a magnetic base. So the magnetic part is actually the stand, the extension stand. No worries. So the two cameras actually have a metal plate built into the bottom so that it is heavy enough to not topple over when you obviously adjust the stand to have it lean forward. And that is why the cameras are actually able to attach to the stand because the stand itself actually has magnets on it. So thank you, John. So yeah, it's actually a really simple attachment. It snaps right on and comes right off. Same thing with the other camera. Snaps right on and comes right off. And like John said, the extension stand is actually also foldable for easy storage and portability. The extension stand is $24. It is a little bit expensive, I would say, because there are a lot of magnets on there, and magnets are not cheap nowadays. The carrying case is $19. The magnifying lens that John showed is also $19. All these are retail prices that I'm saying here, although we do have bulk discount pricings for schools. So I'm going to talk about that. And, if you have any questions or you need quotations and whatnot, you could always get in touch with us. So these are great handy accessories that you could use depending on your needs in the classrooms. We do believe that the cameras are good enough on its own. So, for example, the extension stands, if you do not have the budget for it, we do not try to, upsell and try to sell you everything that we offer. You could actually easily just raise the cameras on top of stuff that you could find, in a classroom setting. For example, you could put it on top of textbooks, or I somehow managed to find a cup that you could put on, and that will work as well. For carrying purposes, the box that John showed at the very beginning also comes in handy. There is actually protective forms in it, so instead of going with the carrying case, you could also I guess not purchase and spend more money and just put it in the box and travel with that as well. So like I said, IPEVO is relatively new to the market. We are really different from everybody else. I believe somebody did mention about other brands. So we've played with Elmos, we play with Evermedias, we play with Samsung document cameras. Everybody's great for different purposes. What we believe is we offer something that's below $100, which gets most of the job done. And the beauty of our camera is also its versatility because it is a USB powered device. What it means is it is compatible with almost every third-party application out there in the market. So you are instead of forcing you to relearn a new program, we try to keep our software part as simple as possible, so that you could use it with text-made products like Jane Camtasia. You could use it with Evernote, Sketch. And for webcam purposes, you can use it with Skype, Google Hangouts, and whatnot. So the cameras are great. I think even for your own personal use, if the schools are not buying for you, at this price, I believe everybody should get one. Even if you have a bigger camera in the classrooms, because it's so small and light, you could also travel with it if you do have to do off-site teaching and whatnot. So that's that. Coming to the question part, I believe somebody had a question about an USB extension cable. So we do offer one model, which is about 33 feet long. That's about 10 meters. it is tested, so that is the only model that we kind of recommend. The problem with extension cables are because you're trying to stretch signals, which essentially affect the picture quality, the frames rate per second. So if you're trying to do, a demo and teaching in a classroom setting, and if you try to use it with long and USB extension cables, there's going to be a lag, potentially a horrible lag, so which I do not really recommend. If you go to our website, we also offer a wireless presentation system, which is essentially a router that you could attach to your projector. When the camera is attached to the computer and connected through Wi-Fi to the presentation system that is pre-wired to the projector, you could also throw the images from your computer over to the projector wirelessly. That way you could bypass the extension cables. But like I said, wireless or not, if you're trying to extend, stretch signals, it's going to affect the picture quality. So I guess the best way to do it is to just try to keep your camera computer as close as possible to your video conferencing or your projector setup. If you are not able to purchase our products with a purchase order, or if you are in a hurry and do not want to wait for the schools, you could also get everything that we sell online. I did come up with a coupon code that you could use for a 10% off of all of our products online, and that coupon code is ATT, as in AT&T, ATT P2V. P2V as in our camera, the point-to-view camera, P2V. That's ATT P2V for 10% off everything that we have on our website. And I believe John is, potentially coming up with a slide to show you guys. So, and as for purchase orders, that is definitely welcomed. We ship anything that's over $50 for free, other than one particular model, which is the perch stands for the iPads, which are really big and heavy and bulky. So everything that we sell that's over $50, we ship FedEx Ground for free. Like I said, we do offer a volume purchase discount for schools. So, for example, this camera, right, that's the ATT P2V. That's the coupon code that you could use for 10% off everything on our website. So, for example, the $69 camera that we sell, if you are buying in bulk, if you buy over 11 units, it actually drops to $65.55. And there are a few different tiers that could go on. You could, drop potentially all the way to $55.20. The Ziggy, which is $89, could drop all the way to $71.20 as well. So, our contact email is sales-america@ipevo.com. That's sales, S-A-L-E-S, -america@ipevo.com. We also have live chat supports on our website. So, and all of our contact information is also on the website as well. The website is www.ipevo.com, IPEVO.com.
The coupon code one more time, ATTP2V. Make sure you get it if you guys are interested in ordering. Are there any final questions for either of our presenters today?
Yes, we have a question about the prices, because we can't order until the fall, so will those still be good in the fall? We can't order until September.
We're going to go ahead and extend the coupon code, and they will be available. The discount prices will always be there for educators. Okay, if there are no further questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We thank you guys. Hope you guys got some information that you can use in your classroom that hopefully will be beneficial to you. Again, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to email. You can email me at jcorb@tetnplus.net. I can forward on anything that you have, any questions you have for the IPEVO crew as well. So any questions, don't hesitate to, you can text me at the number that we showed earlier, or email me at jcorb@tetnplus.net. We thank you all for joining. We've run a little bit long. Thank you guys for sticking around, and hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. Y'all have a good day.